On episode 627 of the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, we have the final part of a 6 episode series on building the best you. This episode is recorded to stand alone. However, you'll get more value if you listen to the previous episodes 622, 623, 624, 625, and 626 in order first. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/627. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness, the 40 Plus Fitness podcast is here for you. Each week, we dive deep into health and fitness topics that affect those of us over 40. I'm Coach Allen. I'm an NASM certified personal trainer with specializations in corrective exercise, behavior change, performance enhancement, and fitness nutrition. A Precision Nutrition Level 1 coach, a FAI certified functional age-linked specialist, and an OTA Level 2 online trainer. Each week, I'm joined by our co-host, Coach Rachel. She is an NASM certified personal trainer and a RRCA Level 1 run coach. Let us be your coaches as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. Hi there, I'm Coach Allen. If you're over 40 and struggling to shed those extra pounds, I'm here to tell you that there's a better way, a path to lasting weight loss and a healthier you. I understand where you are all too well. You've tried countless diets and exercise programs that promise quick fixes, only to be disappointed and left feeling defeated. It's frustrating, and at times you probably feel a little hopeless. Even when you manage to lose some weight, it comes right back when you can't stick to the strict diet or intense workouts. I'm here to offer you something different, something that actually works. It's not a fad diet or a miracle pill. It's not a cookie cutter workout program. It's a transformative journey toward a healthier, happier you. Imagine yourself 15, 30, or even 65 pounds lighter, full of energy and living life to the fullest. Does that sound like the journey you'd like to take? Well, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. I'm currently holding open enrollment for what I can best describe as a weight loss experience. You'll work directly with me to build a plan that's right for you. And I guarantee that you'll lose all the weight you want and build a lifestyle that will help you keep it off. But time is of the essence. The enrollment period for this life-changing weight loss coaching program ends on December 31st. I'm also limiting it to 20 participants. With what it will take for me to do this with you, I don't foresee another open enrollment for quite some time. Don't let another year slip away. I want you to take action right now. If you're ready to invest in yourself, to break free from the cycle of failed attempts, and to finally achieve the results you've been longing for, email me, coach@40plusfitness.com. Remember, you don't have to face this challenge alone. With the right guidance, support, and accountability, your weight loss goals can become reality. Email me today, coach@40plusfitness.com, and let's make 2024 the year you lose the weight and transform your life. Hey, Raz.
Hey, Alan, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. You know, I kind of at the beginning of the year made my big audacious goal.
Yes.
And I followed through with what I've said, even in
Mhm.
this series, Building the Best You. I said you need to make it public.
Mhm.
You need to write it down and you need to make it public. Well, I made it very
Mhm.
public. I've said it
Yes.
on this podcast. I've said it on Facebook. Um, and I've even formed a Facebook group
Oh, good.
to help run through this. And so the group is called the 10,000 Club.
Sweet.
And so it is predominantly a Facebook group where we hold each other accountable. If you recall from last week, when we talked about group and peer in the extrinsic accountability, this has a big chunk of that. You join us on the Facebook group, and there's little check-ins there. But it also has a little bit of coach to it because I do want you to check in with me. and
Mhm.
ask questions in the group that I'll answer. So it's just an opportunity to keep you focused throughout the year. So even if you have just a little bit to lose, the point being is you come in, you lose that, and then now you have the basis for accountability to keep you where you are. So we talk about maintenance. So we talk about projects, which we're going to kind of get into today.
Mhm.
They don't end. And so this is an
Right.
opportunity for you to have that support group going forward. And as you're building the other aspects of your motivation, it's all there. So the accountability portion is covered a bit. If
Mhm.
you have a little bit to lose or a lot to lose, this might be a way for you to do that. It's absolutely free to join. So you can go to 40plusfitness.com/club to join the 10,000 club. And my goal is to help people lose a cumulative 10,000 pounds this year.
Awesome.
So I want you in the club. Help me keep up with track with you the weight that you've lost, so we can add it to the cumulative total. I want to get a lot of people. Obviously, I want to get a lot of people in the group, and I want to help a lot of people lose weight. So if it's 1,000 people losing 10 pounds each on average, cool. If
Wow.
it's 10,000 people losing a pound, cool. But
That sounds
and,
awesome.
and if it's 100, well, then I might not make it, but I want to help that 100. So if you get in the group, there is an email portion to it. So I will be emailing you. You will have access to me through email. And then of course the group, which will, be a bunch of other like-minded people there to cheer for you and to hold you accountable.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I'm glad I launched that group.
Oh, good. Can't wait to hear about it.
How are things up there?
Still wintry, still cold, but
Mhm.
Mike and I got our snowshoes down. So instead of running in the snow, we've snowshoed a few times. So,
Walk,
yep,
walk,
trying to,
walk, walk, walk.
yep, doing what we can as best we can. Hoping the temps go up soon. It's
Yeah,
kind of
just
brutal.
protect those knees.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
All right. So are you ready to get into part 6 of this 6-part series, Building the Best You?
Sure.
This is part 6 of the Building the Best You series. There's a 6-part series. This is the last and final part of this series. It is built to be a standalone episode, but really, I think you're going to get a lot more out of this if you listen to the 5 episodes that came before this. So, 622, 623, 624, 625, and 626, or something like that. Anyway, if you listen to these in order, I think you're going to get a lot more out of all of them. So I'd strongly encourage you, highly encourage you, however you say that, to go listen to those other ones first. But this is a standalone episode, so you can listen to it in pretty much in any order you want to. But as far as implementation, I think they make more sense in order. So in the previous episodes, we've done a ton of mindset work, a lot of mindset work, and then we stepped away and we said, okay, let's start building. We broke the ground, and then we put together a really solid foundation. We've improved the motivation map layout. We've got a good, solid, balanced motivation map. So we have a good foundation, and now we're going to get into construction. Now, you'll often hear people talking about their health and fitness efforts as a journey rather than a destination. And that really is appropriate. Most of this building the best you has probably felt and sounded a lot like a project because typically, yes, building a beach bar is very much a project. But after the project is over, there's always still a lot to be done. So they are building that beach bar across the street. But across the construction of that, their progress has not been a straight line. They've had a lot of things come up as they've gone. They expected to be finished with this by December. They thought they would open up in December and already be open. As I'm recording this, we're well into mid January. So best case, they're probably going to open around the beginning of February. So as this episode comes out, they may actually be open. We'll see. But they have not had a straight line path. There have been things that have come up along the way, and that's to be expected. They they hit a uh, uh, what is it called? Sewer, basically septic tank. was buried on the property that they didn't know was there until they started doing some digging to lay their own plumbing. So again, extra stuff got in the way. I like the way Mike Tyson says it. The way he said it was, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And often our health and fitness journey can feel like occasionally we get punched in the face, a turned ankle, a broken bone, a sprain, a this or that. I got sick, the weather. Um, it happens. There's a universe of excuses if we let it. Life got in the way. Hear that over and over again. It's probably the number one reason why people fall off the wagon is, oh, well, I was going fine until life got in the way. Well, here's the thing. Life doesn't get in the way. Life is the way. Yeah, there's going to be things that happen. Emergencies will happen. But most of the time, what gets us off track aren't those emergencies. It's a birthday, it's a Thanksgiving, it's a family vacation, and in many cases, things that happen practically every year, if not every year. So those things are in your control if you go at them the right way. Now, occasionally something will happen that's outside your control. And so making sure that if you feel like life got in the way, we've got to do something to keep moving forward, albeit slower, but we do have to keep moving forward. And what I want to talk about today is kind of the way I approach this so that you don't find yourself muddled and stopped, quit when those obstacles occur. So my favorite analogy for this is to talk about pace from the perspective of motor vehicles. Okay, so there's three motor vehicles here. There's a sports car, there's a pickup truck, and there's a minivan. Now, all of these travel at different speeds, and each of them has a slightly different purpose, and an amount they can carry and how they carry. So they all have their own bits and pieces and how fast they can go. But the cool thing is you have keys to all three. Okay, and that means you can have the right vehicle at the right time. And we just have to figure out what that is. So, the first thing to think about when you're thinking about your pace, or in this analogy, which vehicle you can use, is to think about the path you're on. Now, a sports car is awesome if you can just get on a path and just haul it. So there's no speed bumps, there's some curves, but they're fun, and there's no road construction, there's no mud, and you don't have to carry a lot. It's just you and maybe one other passenger, but pretty much just you. You don't have much luggage because, again, there's not much of a trunk in this thing, but you can haul it. It goes fast, it goes straight. So you can go really, really fast with a sports car. Now, the pickup truck is valuable when there is a little bit of problem with the road. They handle the potholes a lot better. They can carry stuff, not necessarily a lot of people, but a lot of stuff. So you have your pickup truck, and if you've got things, a lot of luggage, a lot of baggage, a lot of stuff, a pickup truck is reasonable. It won't go as fast as a sports car, but it has a lot more utility. And if you need utility because that's your path, then you want a pickup truck. And then the minivan is when you have a lot of other people to come along. So this is kids, family, other obligations, things that are going on that are just there. You can't leave them behind. You got to take them with. The minivan is not as fast as either the sports car or the pickup truck, but it carries a lot of people. It takes care of people. And so you may find yourself having to be in a minivan that goes slower. But there's a few key things I want you to think about as you think about those vehicles. Okay. One is you do need to make sure you're in the right vehicle for the right circumstances, because if you've got a sports car and you need to carry a lot of people, that's just not going to work. You can't be in a sports car. It's just not going to work. As if, yeah, and if you find yourself needing to go fast or wanting to go fast, the minivan's not going to feel good. You're not going to feel like you're making the progress you should. So at first we got to know we're on the right path. And then we have to set our expectations to the right size. If I know that I have to deal with a lot of obstacles, I have to deal with a lot of people, I have a lot of things that are going on, competing for my efforts to get this done, I find myself in the minivan. I have to recognize I am going slower, but it doesn't mean I'm not going. So I'm not quitting. I just know I'm going slower and I can be okay with that. I have to be realistic. Okay. The same way, I can't always be in the sports car. And we're not in our 20s anymore. When we were in our 20s, most of us could just be in the sports car, hauling it all the time. Our body was forgiving, and we could change our body because we could work really hard and we recovered really fast. And that's just not the case today. So I can't always be in the sports car, but I also don't always want to be in the minivan if I don't have to. So what I want to do is make sure that I'm in the right car at the right time. And so there's times when I can go for a sprint. I can get a lot done in a short period of time. So the kids are going to stay with grandma for a few weeks during summer. Yes, I'm going to spend a lot of time with my wife, but I'm also now available to be in a sports car. So if I set expectations with my wife that I'm going to get up every morning and start really working on my training, that since the kids aren't here, we need to cook our meals together and we need to have healthy food. I can be in a sports car right there with my wife for that short period of time and make a lot of progress. When the kids get back, yeah, we're probably back in the minivan, but that's okay. I was in the fastest car I could be in at the time. And when I do have to slow down, be it the kids come back, an unexpected thing happens, or I know I'm going into Thanksgiving and there's just no other way, then I know I have to get into a slower vehicle and I have to be okay with that. And if I'm okay with it, but I'm still pushing myself to be in the fastest possible car, then I know I'm making the progress that I deserve. So, in talking about pacing, just recognize we can't always be in the sports car. We shouldn't always be in the minivan. We've got to find a subtle balance that works for us, and it's not the same all the time. We're going to switch from car to car to car depending on what's going on in our lives. And that's why it's great that you have all three keys. So let's recap this. Now, again, as an analogy, I want to say you have three cars. You have a sports car, a pickup, and a minivan. Now, each of these travels a little. The sports car travels faster than the pickup. The pickup travels faster than the minivan. But the cool thing is they're all still moving forward. You have to make sure that you're in the right vehicle based on your circumstances and use the best vehicle. Don't just say, well, I'm relegated because I have kids. I'm relegated to the minivan until they graduate. That's just not, you're not going to make progress, not the way you should. There are going to be moments when you can be in a pickup truck. Your kids go off to school, you've got time to do a workout. You drop them off at practice, you can be walking around the track while they're doing their practice. There's a lot of ways to make sure you're in the fastest vehicle you can be in at the time you're in it. And then set your expectations. This is really important because you don't want to let disappointment set you back. If you know in your heart of hearts you're in the fastest car you can be in and you're still moving forward, that's the key. That's the key to making sure that construction happens all the time. So, again, this is not just a short term project. As soon as you finish building something, you're going to have to maintain it. You may want to add a room. You may want to set a second story on top. There's all kinds of things that you can do once you've built your base. So if you set your expectations, you set your goals, you've had those dreams and aspirations, and now you're at this point where you're actually doing it. You're doing the work and you're seeing the results. The only other thing that typically puts people back is that they quit because they don't feel like they're getting the progress that they deserve, even when other things are going on and they just haven't set their expectations right. So if you get into this, you've got to keep your head about you. If you've built your foundation, if you're done all the other mindset stuff, this is the last little bit of mindset stuff that you'll need to worry about. And then the rest is just in the doing. Welcome back, Raz.
Hey, Alan, right off the bat, at the very beginning, you mentioned that our health and fitness is often seen as a destination when it's really a journey. It's a lifelong process. And I feel like some of us feel that once we lose that 20 pounds, that we don't ever have to go to the gym again, or once we figure out our A1C and cholesterol levels, that we never have to eat another piece of broccoli again. But it's really a long-term goal. It's a long plan.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine? I told you I was doing this 10,000 club thing. Could you imagine me just getting to say 10,000 pounds in September and saying, "Okay, guys, thanks," and
We're
then shutting
done.
down the
No,
group?
no,
Yeah,
no.
just shut her down. I hit my
Yeah.
number. We're good.
Hmm.
No, it's like, okay, I want to maintain that. I want to help you. I want to be
Hmm.
there. And so this is
Hmm.
just the thing to say, okay, one, we may not get there as fast as we'd like. So,
True.
in launching what I'm doing with this, just to kind of use it as somewhat of an example is, well, no, there's not 1,000 people in the group
Hmm.
today. Um, and there may not be the whole time. But what I'm doing
Hmm.
is just saying, I want to get people in a group. And if they're
Hmm.
losing 1 to 2 pounds a week,
Hmm.
then I feel great, you know? So one client told me, she started it and she got her first week, she lost 3 pounds.
Ooh, that's
Okay. Now
awesome.
she may not lose 3 pounds or lose any weight next week, but she's
Hmm.
at 3 pounds.
Hmm.
And then I add that to someone else's 2 and someone else's 1.
Hmm.
Um, and someone else who's lost weight but then losing is their 0 for this week, but they're in it. They're in the game. They're
Sure.
doing the thing, and they still know that they're moving the pace that their body can take, and it's the right
Hmm.
pace for them. They know
Hmm.
they're doing the right things, so they're just
Hmm.
gonna keep doing it, and that's what having a group, staying accountable, is all about. But
Hmm.
where I see most people lose it is not just getting to an end and saying, "Okay, I'm
We're
done."
done.
A lot of times it's
Hmm.
getting well, they get really, really close
Hmm.
and then things slow down and the last 5, the last 10 or whatever it is, and that's when they quit. They're like, oh well, this is unattainable, and they quit. Okay,
Hmm.
don't do that. Don't
Right.
do that. What you've done is fantastic. Turn around, look, and say, okay, the 25 pounds I lost is
That's
a big
awesome.
honking deal. And yes,
Hmm.
I wanted to lose 35. But if you're so focused on the 10 that you forget the 25,
Hmm.
then your mindset's wrong and you got to turn that
Hmm.
around. The
Right.
same thing is you lost 3, you lost 2, you lost 1, 0, 0, 0. You know you're doing the right thing. Set
Hmm.
expectations and just say, okay, I'm a slog. This isn't a slog. It's muddy, it's slushy, it's
Hmm.
snowy.
Yes.
I'm in snowshoes and
Yes.
not sneakers.
Yes, exactly.
I can't expect to move so fast right now
Hmm.
based on the conditions going on in my life,
Hmm.
but I know I'm doing what's necessary to move forward, and
Hmm.
that's enough for me.
Yeah. Yep. And like you mentioned in your building analogy, even though once your neighbor gets his building constructed and done, he can have his grand opening of his bar or restaurant. But there's always going to be something afterwards to do. Like you had mentioned, there could be maybe he needs to remodel, or maybe he needs a new roof, or something goes sideways and he needs to fix something. I mean, it's the same thing with our health and fitness journeys. Things happen to come up and we just need to figure out how to navigate around them.
Yeah. Whenever you do what that's called is a pick list. So you finish up your construction project and then you come up with a pick list. Okay. Well, this fitting's leaking, this light flickers,
Hmm.
this thing happens, that thing happens. When I shut
Hmm.
the front door, the light comes on in the other bedroom. I don't know why, but there might be a short or
Uh-huh.
something. But things that were done during the construction that just weren't what you wanted them to be. And so you have a
Hmm.
pick list. So you may get to what you say was where you wanted to be for your first destination. And then
Hmm.
you're like, okay, so what do I want to tweak here? What do I want to move? And so,
Hmm.
it's not that we can spot reduce or whatnot, but it could just be, okay, I trained for and I did a really good job on my 10K or half marathon.
Hmm.
Cool. Cool
Yep.
story. But if you just quit, then what is it? It could be, okay,
Yeah.
well, here's what I want to do. I know if I lose an additional 5 pounds, I know if I build some core strength, and I know that I start doing some work on speed, because all I've done so far is work on endurance, I could actually probably beat the time that I did this time. Or at the
Mm-hmm.
very least, say, I want to walk less this time than I did last time.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Mm-hmm.
should, on paper, increase your
Mm-hmm.
pace, albeit a little bit. So you say, okay, I'm going to try to walk a little bit less and run a little bit more and just try to beat my PR for this particular race.
Mm-hmm.
And all things being equal, same conditions, you come back the next year and you're stronger and you're better.
Mm-hmm.
And to be a year older and be better
Mm-hmm.
is magic.
It is magic. It is very much
Okay.
so.
So
Yep.
just realize there are a ton of challenges in front of you, even when you believe you've reached the end of this part of your this destination.
Mm-hmm.
There are more. There's more, and it's not that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I ran a 5K. Now I got to run a 10K, and then I run a 10K, and I have to run a half, and now I run a half. I have a marathon. Now I have to do an ultra. I did an
Mm-hmm.
ultra that's 50. Now I got to do one that's 100. No, you don't. If you want, you can by all means. If
Right.
that drives you, and you love it, then please.
Mm-hmm.
But for most people, it's just okay. I enjoy running and I want
Mm-hmm.
to run, basically you could say I want to run 5 half marathons a year. Here they are.
Sure.
Or you could
Mm-hmm.
say next year, I don't want to run these 5. I want to run 5 more that have me traveling to
Oh yeah.
California and Hawaii and Disneyland and Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm going to do their half marathons next year. So it's, destination things. And then,
So
like, okay,
fun.
well, if I do the half at Big Sur, that's a tough one. I'm going to have to train up a little bit harder than I did
Sure.
for the ones that I've done because they've been relatively flat and fast. That
Mm-hmm.
one's not. So you can say, okay, that's going to require more training, a little bit more effort, and more
Mm-hmm.
preparation to be ready for a more hilly, difficult course. So there's
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of ways that you can look at this and say, I'm going to make this enjoyable. I'm going to make this a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then you identify as a half marathoner,
Right.
all the things. But it's just the patience of saying, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have a pace. There's things I want. It is not a destination. It's just part of
Right.
the journey. But when you
Mm-hmm.
get there, then you can say, okay, what's next?
Yep.
And any time that you can say, okay, my goal next year is to be better than I was this year, and you pull it
Mm-hmm.
off,
Yeah.
magic, magic.
Absolutely.
You did something special. So
Mm-hmm.
if you go ahead and lose the weight this year, you're better next year than you were this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge win. And
It
then you start
is.
getting stronger and you're better the next year than you were this year.
Mm-hmm.
You're aging in reverse. That's the
Mm-hmm.
magic of fitness and nutrition is that,
Mm-hmm.
for at least part of this, you can not only fight aging, you can age in reverse for a while. And then there'll be a
Mm-hmm.
point, yeah, you'll get on your curve, but your curve on your terms that's
Mm-hmm.
not like everybody else's, that's on the steep decline right now. Yours is
Mm-hmm.
a more gradual, easy way. And you're able to do all the things that you need to do and want to do.
I love that. I love moving the goalpost. I love when people say I'll do a 5K and then a 10 and 10K and maybe a half marathon and maybe a marathon. I mean, it's so wonderful to see that type of progression. But I also want to mention too that life sometimes gets in the way. A lot of people get injured in the gym or on a run, or I mean, just a car accident. Things happen when our bodies are just not able to move those goalposts anymore. And so then again, going back to that, it's a journey that sometimes you need to fix the things in your house that needs fixing. You just have to navigate these kind of detours.
Yeah. And they're gonna, yes, absolutely. They're a part of life. And so they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
be there. And that's as we go through this, it's just recognizing that's the environment we're in.
And like
You
you
know,
mentioned, that's when we go back to our minivan instead of the sports car.
right. So they're tearing up all the roads here in
Hmm.
Bocas and
Oh.
to do construction. So to
Hmm.
make it better, they're making it worse for a while. It's kind of the way
Hmm.
this is ugly till it's not.
Right.
But at the same time, it means that a normal drive that would have taken us 15 minutes now might take us 30.
Oh boy.
And your car is going to get really, really dirty doing it. Um, so it's just one of those things, is setting your expectation that,
Hmm.
Tammy washed her car the other day. Our employee was smart enough. He hosed off all the road around it. Then he washed the car and it looked great until the road dried up. And then the
Hmm.
dust started settling on the car. And then it was pretty much
Oh.
just as dirty on the outside as it was before he
Oh
washed it.
gosh.
But it's just that's the thing is she could be
Mhm.
really upset about it or just accept that's our reality for right now. They're
For
gonna fix
now.
this. They're gonna
Mhm.
this is gonna go away. I do my
Yep.
PT and I recover my
Yes.
ability to do the things that I wanted to do. And now that I've done my homework on my PT, I've seen my PT, I've done my things, I'm able to go back to training. I set
Mhm.
myself up in a place where I am. I set my sights on what my next destination is, and I
Mhm.
start my training. And I go at the pace that makes the most sense, which will probably be slower at first, but there'll be
Mhm.
moments when you're like, okay, obviously the ankle can handle what it needs to handle.
Mhm.
Now I'm in a sports car. Let's go push this Sunday run. And
Mhm.
that's how all this works.
Yep, absolutely. Just perfect.
All right. Well, Raz, I'll talk to you next week.
Take care, Ellen.
You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, we bring back Gary Taubes and discuss his new book, Rethinking Diabetes: What Science Reveals About Diet, Insulin, and Successful Treatments. Until then, have a happy and healthy week.